Wow, what an interesting shaver this Laifen P3 Pro Shaver proves to be. Its look and feel of it is absolutely brilliant. It's a top quality feel and looking shaver. However, looks and feel, that's not everything. The most important thing is how does it perform, how does it shave. Now I have some mixed views and experience with the shaving with this, and it's not just that this is a great shaver or this is a bad shaver. There are some however, some althoughs and maybe, so I'd like to run through those with you guys. In this video I'm going to do the usual and run through the costs, the warranty period. I'm going to run through the pros and cons of the feature and design of how I view them and have experienced them. We're also going to run through a demo shave. So I'm going to shave this shaver, although I've shaved it a good few times in the past. We're going to do a demo shave for you guys and then wrap it up with some kind of feedback. First things first, the cost. This is going to be a sticking point for quite a few guys, I imagine. Currently it's in the USA, it's priced up at $179.99, so $180. So it's not a cheap shaver at all. However, when you first even take this out of the box and you just get a look at it and a feel of it, you know that it's going to kind of cost at least like $100 or so. You know, it's definitely not a cheap looking product. Nothing looks cheap about it at all. We also need to consider the replacement head costs, or cassette we call them, head and cassette. Yeah, so we have to replace this once every 12 months. Depending on how often you use it and how coarse your growth is, but replace it approximately once every 12 months. That to replace is $40 US, and that's about even with or equal to shavers like Braun and Phillips for their replacement cassettes or replacement cutters. So I think that's quite a fair price, and it's not like we're getting a chunk of plastic or anything. I mean, this is still a solid piece of metal and a great bit of kit. Warranty is worth mentioning. We get around about 2 years warranty. That's kind of in line with a lot of the small men's grooming brands, about 2 years. Some of them are less. 2 years is okay. We'll kind of get a bit more with some of the bigger brands like Braun and Phillips. However, for this type of small business brand, 2 years is about right. Let's get into the features and design. The first thing we're going to notice is a very compact shaver, like a travel size shaver. Very similar to the Panasonic swipe right shaver. Very similar shaver. Very different from a standard facial shaver, a standard shaver like a Braun. Very, very different. It's got a longer handle. But that's me kind of pointing out the obvious. While that's an obvious feature and doesn't really deserve a mention really, it does, because there's pros and cons to having a design like this. Because of this small design, I found it very good for kind of shaving the sideburns areas like this, because I can pull my skin taut and I can get kind of the decent pressure there. Very good for going under the nose area, around the lips, on the chin area. It's pretty good there. And I also found it pretty good for shaving the corner of the jaw area here, because here's where I get a lot of leftover hairs. But this, I kind of get a nice pressure with it. So I really like that part of having a very compact, small shaver like this. However, other shavers, standard shavers, they'll surpass in being longer and a bigger handle in terms of doing the longer strokes up the cheeks that way, and even the neck area, moving up and across the contour and across the jawbone and stuff like that. So there's pros and cons to each kind of shape and design. But the additional bonus to a very small shave like this being compact is it's very easy to stow away. If you want to keep it in your car, pop it into the dashboard, or it's in a carrier bag while you're traveling. Very, very useful for that. However, I do think with travel shavers, even a Braun, any shavers really, it's not that massive, is it, to have to travel with one of these, put it inside the car or inside the travel bag. None of them are that big, are they really? However, if you like to be very compact, this is kind of perfect, isn't it? Being a solid build, it is made from aluminium. In the UK we call it aluminium. In the US I think you're aluminium, is that right? Yeah, I think aluminium in the USA. But it's very, very, very solid build, which makes it heavy. So it's like 6.4 ounces, 180 grams. Now I like that because it just makes me feel like I'm getting something solid. However, the issue could be for some people is that you might get a bit of, the wrist might ache a little bit if you're having to use it for quite long, and you may get some type of fatigue. I've been okay with that, but some guys may. It has a window on the front of it here, which shows that the twin motors inside there. We can kind of see those, and that's pretty cool. But that's just a feature that's cool. It's nothing that's functional about that, and that means it has a glass window on there. I don't know how strong this glass window on there is, but I'd be a little bit cautious about dropping it. I mean, it might be super strength glass, I imagine it kind of is, but I'd be cautious about dropping it in case that can crack easier or crack easily. The body of it has no kind of grip areas, there's no rubberized sections on it at all, so I'd be a little bit cautious when shaving wet with this or in the shower, just in case you drop it and it gets damaged. It could slip out the hand a little bit easier than say a shaver like this. It's very easy, it's much easier to hold within the hand. I think even this Panasonic swipe, that has something where we can kind of grip that a little better, although you can, as you see, switch that on by accident. It's a triple shaving element shaver, so what we get is two files. We get one at the top, one at the bottom. Now these two do the main shaving. Within the center here we get a extra trimmer blade, and this picks up on kind of flat laying hairs, tricky hairs, and these all flex independently, so that helps with maintaining skin contact. All of that is pretty standard. I do like how, if you take a look at these, if I can get a close-up of it, these here are metal. A lot of these on the shavers these days are plastic, and it's kind of just another little added touch that makes this like very high quality. To take the top cap off, or the cassette, is interesting. We kind of just have a slight gap there where we can slip our thumbnail in there and take it off. It's very easy to take off. If you notice it's slipping back on, this is because it's magnetic, you know, and I kind of really love this. You can kind of, you know, if I just slip it on there, it'll just slip on. This so easy to use, so easy to detach and attach. Now this shaver cassette, you'll see that the files and the cutters are all held within the head section. No cutters on this section. These are like two kind of posts, so there's three posts there that will move the shaving elements. Now this is really good in terms of replacements, because everything is held within that cassette, so you know we don't have to take separate cutters out. However, I do wonder if some of the shavers that like these Panasonic are slightly better for cleaning, because you know these cutters are exposed, so I can really get in there and clean them, and that's kind of empty. You can make sure things are clean very well. Now I'm not sure, even the brawns like this, I'm not sure even with the brawn that how clean we can keep these inside, although the brawn shows a bit more of the detail inside there compared to this Laifen Pro. You know, it's hard to see anything in there, but you know there's trade-offs, isn't there, to certain designs with shavers. And the great thing about the Laifen is it's just very compact, and in a way just easier to clean. But you know, the Panasonic type, I know they might be more trickier to clean, but you know I can visually see how clean it is. One thing that Laifen shares with the company Panasonic is having a linear motor. I won't go into, linear motors are very good for shavers, however I won't go into much detail about that. I do like where the power button is positioned, plus that the power button is quite difficult to press on by accident. Wherever I hold it, it's never going to be able to trigger that power button, so I like that. And with that power button, if we press the button and hold it for a few seconds, it will activate the travel lock. When we activate that travel lock, you should be able to see an aeroplane LED on there, which signifies it's on aeroplane mode. And then to deactivate the travel lock, we just hold it for a few seconds again, 2 or 3 seconds, and then we can use the shaver. Back to that magnetic thing, also the cap that we have for taking care of the blades when it's not in use, the cutters or files, when it's not in use, it's also magnetic, but it's just very easy, just slips on there. I was pointing that out. I mean, of course it's not a deal breaker, but it's just kind of a nice other touch for this shaver. On the bottom of the shaver there is, we put our fingernail into there's a clip which will show us the port for charging it. Now this charges up via a USB type C cord, and it has this little flap there, and you can see we can just cover that back up, so this prevents water from going inside if you use it for wet shaving or when cleaning. And yes, it uses a type C cord or cable, but the only thing is we only get this cord, but we don't get an adapter, so we have to use one of our own adapters, and I'm okay with that, so I have plenty of them knocking around my place. One thing we're not going to get with a shaver like this is a detail trimmer. There's no trimmer attached to this, you know, the type of trimmer you'll get on a Braun Series 7, many of the electric shavers, where there's an attached trimmer for cutting in our sideburns or any stray hairs that we can't pick up on. We're not going to get that with a compact shaver like this. However, I don't usually need that quite as much, because this is very good at getting the fine details, you know, cutting in the sideburn stuff. And if I do ever need to use something, I always have something at hand, like something like this. You know, let's say like multi-blade fusion razor that has a blade on the top there, the precision trimming blade, and I can just cut in like that, you know. That does the trick for me. But it's worth noting, because you're a person that likes to have a detail trimmer, you need that detail trimmer, then yeah, this doesn't have one. An additional bonus is it gives us 100 minutes runtime. That's quite a lot. That is. Most even high-end shavers give us around about 60 minutes. So yeah, so 100 minutes is very good. Now I've used this a good few times. I'm not sure how many times, and it's showing nowhere near that it's going to need charge. When it does need to be charged, it'll flash red once we are down to 15%. The LED on the front of it. The LEDs are quite basic. There's just, you can see that little light on the front signifying that it's switched on. Then when we're charging it, that white light will flash. When it's fully charged, then it will stay white. And like I said, 15% left of charge, it will warn us by a red flashing light. But once that it goes below that, you know, it's that kind of critical point, then that light will stay on, the red light will stay on, and you know, it's best to recharge it up. But if it does go flat, you can give it a quick boost of 3-4 minutes, and you'll get one quick shave out of it. I would have liked to see a travel case that came with this. I know that Laifen provides a travel case that we can purchase separately. That costs around about $30 US, but I think they could have chucked one in for the price of this. That would have been nice. It has an IPX7 resistant, water resistant rating, which just means really we're going to be able to use this shaving wet, and we can wet clean it. I have shaved wet with it, but like most electric shavers, I don't get any additional benefit from that. Some guys might. Now if you do wet shave with lava or shaving cream, you can use this shave for wet shaving. Cleaning is pretty straightforward, and I try to follow what Laifen has said about this, where we just pop the top cap off, as usual, give it a brush out. Don't brush on the files at all, because we can damage them. Brush on the inner part of the cassette and the head section and give it a blowout. We should not tap this at all. Some shavers we can get away with tapping the head. I wouldn't want to do that with this in case I damage it. Now we can wet clean it as well, and I'll wet clean it about after every third shave, and all I do is just take the top cap off, just as Laifen recommends. Give that a rinse, to give the cassette a rinse, plus give the top of it a rinse. Then what I do is give it a dab with a bit of tissue, just to get rid of some of the excess water, and give it a shake, and then lay it on the side to dry out for a good couple of hours. But Laifen recommends not using any sort of cleaning solutions, and I usually do use the hand antibacterial soap and other agents. So they recommend not using that. So far I haven't used anything. I'm just following what they say, and I'm glad that Laifen mentions it, because it's something that I do. Is that after every wet clean, or after every wet shave, not that I wet shave very often, I put a drop or two on each of the files of lubricating oil, and that's pretty easy to do. Each file we just put 1 or 2 drops on there. Then we just press the power button and let it run for about 10 seconds. Any excess oil, then I just use a soft cloth or a little bit of tissue and just rub that off. But that's very easy to do, and it helps maintain the cutters. Well, that just about covers the most important features and design. I'm not going to go into anything about the specs or tech. I may put some of that stuff in the website review, because I also do website reviews for all of these shavers, and I'll leave a link in the description for that, which will have more detail if you need that, plus the specs and all that. You know, it can kind of be marketing stuff in it, and we don't need that in this video. What we need to know is how well does it shave. So let's grab myself a mirror and get a shave on. I'll just mention before I get myself a mirror is that I'm on about 3 days of growth here, definitely 3 days. Now for me this is a little bit too much for this shaver. I know it is. This for me, this is a 2-day shaver or a daily shaver, 2 days of growth or daily shaver. However, for demo purposes and to be able to show you I have some hair that you can see being removed, I have to shave with at least 3 days of growth. But I'm saying it's not best suited for that. Not for my type of hair, because my type of growth is very coarse. Now if you're a younger guy with finer hair, you're probably going to get away with 3 or 4 days of growth quite easily. When you get to my kind of age and your hair becomes very coarse, then over 3 days becomes very difficult for this type of shaver, or most types of shavers. Okay, let's grab that mirror. Okay, this is what we're starting with. A bit too much for this shaver really, but I need to give you something to be able to see that what's being removed. So it may take a little bit longer to get there, but it will get there, get the job done. It's going to take a little bit longer to remove all of this growth. Okay, let's fire it up. Very good for shaving underneath the nose, as you can see, because of this small design. Very good for that area. You can see it maintains skin contact pretty well, even over the jaw area. Maybe not as good as a kind of Philips rotary shaver with a movable head, or other shavers like the Braun Series 9 and 8 that has a movable head. But you know, because of these blades that flex independently, it still contours pretty well, maintains skin contact. It's worth noticing while I'm shaving here that it's super comfortable. These files that feel very comfortable on the face compared to most other shavers. I'm just going over patches here where I've got I've got slight stubble areas, which we've removed most of it so far. I'm just checking there. I've got a few hairs, longer hairs there that have not been picked up. The sideburns are not too bad actually. Yeah, I've had worse with some of the higher end file shavers, but that's not too bad. Let's continue going over it and get it a bit more cleared up. Now I'll make the skin taut a bit here to try and get a closer shave. There's a little bit of heat off the blades, off the cutters, or files should I say, but it's not really hot, there's just a bit of warmth coming from it. You can see I'm having to glow the same areas quite a lot here, but the good thing is because it's such a comfortable shaver, they're going over the same areas, it's not causing irritation. So maybe it's cutting the sideburns, good enough there, good enough for this shaver, without having a detail trimmer. Right, let's see where we're at. I'd say we're just about finished there, nice comfortable shave. And what I'm going to do is go away for 20 minutes, because usually what happens with me is after 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes of shaving, I notice some patches or longer hairs that I've missed, and I may not be seeing it here. So I'll get back to you on that, give yourself 20 minutes, get back to you and see how it's going. Plus, see if it's caused any irritation. I don't think it's going to, it hasn't done in the past, and it feels pretty fine now. So let's see how it goes. Just before that, let's check to see what I have on my shirt. So none of the debris goes onto the shirt. So let's have a look inside here. It must all be inside here. Yeah, plenty of debris in that inside there. Well, that's nice to have, not have all the debris falling over the shirts or inside the sink. Okay, 20 minutes post shave. I did notice a few little patches, very light sandpapery kind of stubble left, and I went back over the shaver and that's kind of got rid of most of it. There is some other slight areas that I could go back over again, so it's not perfectly close. However, I did say that I'd shaved with 3 days of growth, plus I have very coarse growth. And when I shaved daily with it, and every 2 days, it was pretty quick and extremely comfortable. Any shaves, it's been extremely comfortable. That's where this shaver does excel. It's in comfort. So the bottom line in terms of quality and build, this is kind of one of the best shavers, or the best shaver that I've ever seen. I'd say it was ideal for guys that have sensitive skin, or guys who shave daily or every 2 days. For guys that shave every 3 days or so, maybe if you've got fine hair and not coarse growth like me, you may be able to get away from that with that. But I think better suited as a daily driver or shaving every 2 days. It obviously makes a great travel companion because of being so small, being able to fit in your glove box of the car or in a small bag or something. Plus having that 100 minutes runtime is excellent. It might not be best suited for guys that are chasing the closest shave that you can get, like a manual razor shave. It will in some areas get a manual razor closeness, like on the cheek areas and that. But if people are really chasing that, I don't think this is going to be the shaver for you. Plus guys who have coarse growth, mentioned this a few times now, guys that have coarse growth that are shaving over 2, 3 or 4 days, and I don't think they're going to get on very well with this. They'll get away with it, but I think it's just going to be much more of a challenge for this shaver. If you wet shave frequently as well, I guess that raises concerns for me because of having no grip or anything. Probably, this could easily slip out the hands. So that's one concern if you're a person that wet shaves frequently. Well, that's about it, gentlemen. Don't forget that in the description area there'll be all related links to this shaver, including a review to the Panasonic Swipe Right, which I guess we could compare those, and other related shaver reviews. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.